Jason, a couple of episodes ago, I talked about resisting the urge to buy Dead Cells, and I have a little bit of a follow-up about that. I was not successful in resisting.
Well, I don't think we ever talked about you not buying it. It was just like the method in which you were going to buy it.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to wait and see if it came out in Humble on December, and it didn't come out in Humble on December. And honestly, the December Humble was not that exciting.
No, it's pretty bad.
Because it didn't come out there, I was able to catch it in the last hours of the Steam autumn sale. And I did buy Dead Cells, and I have played a decent amount of it, and it is very fun.
How similar is it to Wind? Like, can you see the influences from to Windblown?
Absolutely. I mean, I can. I don't know. I think they're there. There's like things like the way that the boss's health bar, disappears, like where it chunks it off in like little rectangles, which I know is not unique to that game, but like you can kind of see it all the way to like how you unlock your meta progression. It's like a store kind of thing that's very similar to the way that Windblown does it. So it's definitely like a spiritual successor to Dead Cells, like Windblown is.
Dead Cells is 2D though, right? And Windblown is 3D. Are there any other like gameplay or combat mechanics that are crossover?
They have a dodge. There's like a dodge button, like a dodge roll, because it is 2D pixel art instead of 3D like full rendered. So I guess that's the similarity is they both have dodge, and they both have the weapons, right? You pick up different weapons, and the weapons have levels, so you can like get upgraded versions of the weapon you already have if you like a certain weapon. You unlock more weapons as you do more runs, like all that kind of stuff is kind of similar between the two games.
I remember Dead Cells as being like a really, really deep game, like lots of things to unlock and go after. But I don't know that I feel that yet for Windblown. Do you agree with that sentiment? Is it too early to tell with Windblown, or like is it I don't know, are they going after something a little different?
I think it's too early to tell, but I think they are going to end up with fewer things in the end than they have in Dead Cells. But I wouldn't, I mean, yes, there's a lot less stuff, but Windblown is in early access and Dead Cells has been out for like 8 years.
And there's like, 15 add-ons now or crossovers, or didn't they just keep bolting on to it?
They have about 4 DLCs, and one of them is actually Castlevania themed. So it's a true Metroidvania in that it adds a bunch of Castlevania stuff to it.
All right. So I don't know. We've done like 20, 25 runs in Windblown. How many do you have in Dead Cells now?
I think like only a dozen or fewer, like not that many. I had a little bit of a scare with a save. Like I thought my save got lost due to some weirdness with some Steam Cloud syncing between my Steam Deck and my computer. But I was able to actually like recover the save, which was pretty cool.
Well, that's good.
You can go in. I don't know if people know this, but there's actually a folder in your Steam, like C program files, x86 Steam, something or other. And there's a folder full of numbered folders. And each one of those numbered folders is basically the data for every game that gets synced back and forth to Steam Cloud. So you can mess with the files in there and it will sync those files to Steam Cloud.
So did you roll back, or like, what did you have to do?
Well, it's really cool. Dead Cells actually, they must expect this problem because every day or so they actually copy a save to their install folder. So not just the Steam syncing location, but also to kind of like the local save location. So there's actually a backup archive. So I did roll it back by like one run, but like it wasn't too much.
Yeah, that's not bad. Dead Cells looks so cool to me. I would be so into it, but like part of, like we talked about this with Windblown, is part of the charm is that it's multiplayer. And man, I know it would take so much to add multiplayer to like Dead Cells after it's done. They're not working on it anymore. But and I don't know that it would work as well in 2D, maybe not. But I don't know. It looks really cool. It looks like it would be a lot of fun. But I need it to be multiplayer to be at the top of my list. Is that fair? It feels so unfair because Dead Cells seems like such a good game, but I can't, like, I want to get it. I want to play it, but unless it's like multiplayer with other people, it's not going to be at the top.
I don't know if that's fair, but I understand what you're saying. I mean, I guess it's fair for you. You can make whatever rules you want about the games you want to play. But I think it is a good enough game, and when it's relatively inexpensive, it's easy to play like portably or on the go or whatever. I don't know. I think there are opportunities to play a game like this outside of the like play with people option.
And this one does play well on Steam Deck, I assume, because Windblown, you said, for whatever reason, does not, at least in its early access state.
Yeah. No, this definitely does play well on Steam Deck. And Windblown performs fine. It's just something about the camera angles and stuff doesn't work for me. But Dead Cells does perform well, except I will say there is this weirdness with the save. I did try to boot it up earlier today, actually, and it gave me something of like, some issue with your save, you can either start over or you can fix it. And I was like, what? And that was coming on the Steam Deck. And I was like, I don't have it running somewhere else or anything like that. So something got messed up. They don't have like a complete implementation of the Steam Cloud syncing across Steam Deck and machines. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know how they managed to do this, but it is not good in that respect, I'll say. And that's too bad. I still think you should play it, though. It's a fun game. Actually, you could play it on Apple Arcade because Dead Cells Plus or whatever with all the DLC is actually on Apple Arcade. So if you have
oh, no kidding.
Yeah. If you have either like a Backbone to play with your phone, or if you have you can even Bluetooth or wired connection like a PS5 controller to an iPad, you can play it there. So if you have Apple Arcade, you could even try Dead Cells for free.
Do you think I could play it on an Apple TV?
I don't know, because it's not on the Mac, which is interesting. Like Apple Arcade typically is on all the platforms, and it's not, Dead Cells is not on the Mac for Apple Arcade, which is weird. So I bet you it's not on Apple TV. Crazy point here. I would actually do that. I would try that, because that sounds like a good way to demo it, right? That's what I did when I was impatiently waiting for the thing to go on sale or show up on Humble or whatever. I played it a bit on my iPad with a PS5 controller.
Yeah, that sounds good. But crazy thing here, I don't have a very modern iPad at this point. It's pretty old. I don't even think I have an M series iPad. And my phone is, I wouldn't say it's old in its dragging, but I do have a 14 Pro, which it has come a long way since the 14 Pro. And I feel like there are certain games or certain things on my phone now that just don't run quite well enough. And Dead Cells would probably be fine, but I'm getting to the point where I'm going to need to upgrade my phone because things aren't running perfectly. And I haven't said that in a very long time. Now, I also haven't gone 2 years without a phone in a very long time, but they're just so good now that I haven't needed to, or need is a strong word. I haven't been compelled to upgrade as frequently, recently, but I'm starting to see it, and wouldn't that be funny? $1,000 demo.
Yeah, that would be really funny. Real-time follow-up, Apple TV, Dead Cells is on it. So you could play it on the Apple TV.
Oh, okay. Well, I could do that maybe. That'd be a fun demo. That'd be a good way to test it out.
Yeah, Bluetooth pair an Xbox controller to your Apple TV and then play Dead Cells on the TV. That'd be cool.
As people are hearing this, the Steam sale should be just about ending. So maybe I had purchased it during that time. I don't know.
Maybe. Welcome back to Pride and Accomplishment. My name is Chris.
And I'm Jason. This is episode 143. Do you remember this tiny game that snuck into our lives in, I think it was January, maybe February, but I think it was January 2024.
Yes, yeah.
It was our New Year gift in 2024, and we are going to talk about it here at the top of 2025 because in December, Pal World got another big update. I mean, I thought for sure this game was going to get shut down and it wasn't going to make it. We had a lot of fun with it back in January of 24, and I don't know. I think it's worth kind of talking about the 1 year upgrade of Pal World.
Yeah, Pal World is something that I completely forgot happened until I was looking at like what games did I play on Steam this year, or like what things did I buy and all that kind of stuff. Spoiler: there's a game spending episode coming up here pretty soon. But I remembered that Pal World was a thing, and then I had all of the like rush of good memories of having played it come back to me. There are a lot of really fun moments that we had with our friends playing this game. Remembrance to the lake house. Those who know it will know. The lake house was great. But yeah, Pal World, it's still getting updated, which makes sense, right? Because it was like an early access game that made $1 bajillion. And then you could have, I guess, said, okay, that's enough money. We're going to stop making this game now. But instead, the developers were still in it and still working on it. And they have come out with a couple of big updates since we last played it. And I don't think we've played any of it yet.
We have not. We have not touched it. And I think we should try again, because I bet there have been a lot of quality of life updates since we last played it. Now, they were doing a really good job when we played in January 24 to like try to fix the worst issues like really rapidly. But I have a feeling that a lot of the things that we were complaining about and a lot of the things that we were just frustrated by, we wanted improved, we wanted changed, I bet all of those things have been corrected, smoothed over, or fixed or changed or whatever. And, who knows how much time we have going on, like have it, with everything coming out, and we're going to talk about what we're looking forward to. But I don't know, Pal World might be one of those ones that we have to maybe, I don't know. Is it out of early access yet, or is it still in early access, Chris?
I think it is still technically early access. I think
it is still early access. I just looked it up on Steam. Maybe we make a pact as a group of friends that we rebuild the lake house when it comes out of early access, just to try it again. We a group of people played what was it, Vampire Survivors? No, that's not it.
V Rising.
The V Rising, the other vampire game. And we never got a chance to play that after it came out of early access into 1.0. That's another one that I would want to play because I missed the first round. But like, we tend to like do these survival crafting games when they first come out, and then I think we should kind of make I would love to make like an agreement that we try again after it comes out of early access. That might be the right time to try Pal World again. It does seem, at least from trailers and what we're looking at and kind of the news that's going on, that we may see something like that in 2025.
Do you think a full out of early access release?
I think it's possible. Let me not eat my words and maybe read the text on Steam a little bit, but I think it's possible that we see that in 2025.
Yeah, I think we're going to be waiting until either very late in 25 or maybe 26 even for it to kind of come out in 1.0. But maybe not. I mean, I could be totally wrong. That is just a guess. I don't know. Like I said, not having played it in a bit, it was pretty rough around the edges when we played it before. So they've had a year to work on it, but there was a long way to go.
I don't want to be too critical of it, but like they're releasing these major updates, and obviously performance is the last thing you touch with a game, right? Trying to make sure that it runs smoothly, and you want to make sure it runs well enough when something is in early access. But I mean, the trailer they posted, the major update's called Faybreak, and they posted a trailer for it, and there are certain sections of the trailer where it's struggling to hit 30 FPS. Like you can see it not be able to keep up.
Yeah, you can watch it chug in the trailer.
Yeah, so rough around the edges, probably still there a little bit. But obviously that's the last thing you kind of correct for when you're working on a game.
And it's an open world game that's got a lot going on. I mean, it's got the server has a whole like world to deal with, and they're only making the world bigger as they go, right? They did an update over the summer in 24 of whatever it was, and then they did this new update, Faybreak. They said is 6 times bigger than the June update.
Oh my! I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's huge. So they are just expanding the world. I remember when we played Pal World before, I actually swam out to that big tree, which might actually be where the June expansion was. I swam out to that big tree and found the invisible wall and swam along the invisible wall and made like a fog of war line on our map where the invisible wall was. So maybe now you can get there.
I'm just hoping that maybe they already have, and we need to play it and really find out. But if anyone knows, please let us know. But I'm hoping they've removed a lot of the jank, right? Like the things clipping through each other, or pals not working on the things you've assigned them to, or pals not eating or whatever, like just because of bugs and jank. I'm hoping they fixed a lot of that, because that was, those were tiny things, but it was right as the game came out, and it just made the game a little frustrating. But I have a feeling that they've addressed all of those things, and it will be time to give this game another chance here soon.
Well, of course, we have to wait till 2025 to play here, because in 2025, I don't know exactly when, they're doing a crossover with Jason's favorite game, Terraria. So
it's not my favorite game. Let the record show. I don't know what that means.
I have no idea either. Those are not the same. I mean, they're kind of the same kind of game, but like not really. Terraria is like a little 2D Minecraft exploring kind of game, like not what Pal World is.
Yeah, I don't really know what a crossover would mean with were there certain kinds of like guns or weapons in Terraria that could make it into Pal World?
Maybe. I mean, there was certain things, like I think there was like a portal in Terraria, like there were certain enemy types and stuff. They could bring those in or do some weird lore thing, but it's just an odd fit.
Yeah, it's weird. So I'm hoping I just don't notice, and that'll be the best case for me.
Anyway, we'll have to keep an eye on Terraria. Wow. Keep an eye on Pal World and see if we can get a group back together at some point. Because like they say, memories are made at the lake.
So after the Game Awards, I'm browsing Steam, I'm scrolling, I'm looking, and I say, wait a second. And then I get an email, like, oh, it was like right out of a movie. It was planned. I get an email, and at the same time I see it on Steam, I see the email notification pop. Creeper World IXE? What is that? I don't know. Is that a number? Is that Roman numerals?
No,
or
I don't think it's a
IXE?
number. I think it's just letters.
Okay, cool. Creeper World IXE has dropped and is now available for purchase. And I was just like, what? And I remember, I mean, this is, what a guy, like, single developer. I think maybe he co-developed this one, but I think Creeper World IXE on its page was like, when will it release? When it's ready. It's like, he's that kind of guy. And that's exactly what happened. Like, just some random day in December, it was just like, okay, it's ready, and then now it's available for sale. So we're like weird Creeper World fans a little bit. I wouldn't say we're super fans, but Chris introduced me to Creeper World a long time ago, and it is it has, at least in the past, has been a very cool semi top-down, not super normal, but also like standard RTS. Like, it's really weird to describe because you're not fighting enemies, you're fighting a liquid, and the liquid follows the topography of the map, and it's very cool. It's a very cool kind of RTS planning, very quirky story game. But IXE takes a different approach, and it's a little bit different in how it does it. But it's the same guy. It's got to be a good game, and it was on my wish list, and it shadow dropped. It's now available for perfect purchase. But as all Creeper World games have, it has a demo, and I've heard you've played it already.
Yes, I have played it. I got the note from you that said, this thing is dropped, and I was like, all right, well, let me take a look at it. So I played the demo for, 15 minutes. Like, it was not very much, and it wasn't really enough to give it a fair shake. So I'm not going to be super critical about it, but it's very different, I would say, from previous Creeper Worlds. Like, the first three games were all kind of 2D top down. The fourth game was they added 3D, but it was still basically 2D. Like, they put it in 3 dimensions, but the game was kind of still like isometrically, you're looking down at a
2D,
planet,
yeah,
and you fight in 2D, yeah. But now they basically have taken the 2D and like flipped, like gone to the other face of the cube, And now you are looking at it from a like almost like Terraria. I mean, we just talked about Terraria, but like it's like a 2D digging kind of game now instead of just a top down kind of thing.
Which is interesting because the enemy you're fighting is a liquid, so I'm sure that has like interesting mechanics in that. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe you haven't played it enough to know. But like, it's sitting in pools or something under the ground, or there's certain channels, or I don't know if you can dig around and have it like move and go where you want. Kind of like, I don't know. It seems like it could have some interesting alternative strategy to it rather than, attacking it from above.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's like a like physics based creeper world now, I would say. Did you ever play or see the game Noita? Noita?
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of like one of those like falling sand simulators or whatever.
Right. Right.
This is the same kind of thing where the blue, like the liquid that you're fighting, the creeper, is physics aware. Like it will fill in all the available space, and there's gravity. Like gravity is a thing. So it's a very different way of thinking about how to play the game. And I didn't spend enough time with it and I didn't spend enough time with the tutorial, to be honest, to really understand how you're supposed to do it. But it is a very big departure from what the existing creeper worlds have been.
I'm going to have to try it because I like that. I honestly really liked Creeper World. It was a great game, but it was, for me, the 1, 2, 3, and 4, I played mostly 4, I just didn't really connect with the combat style. Like I knew what I was supposed to do and I could effectively do it, but like it just I never felt like I was outsmarting the enemy, right? Because it's a liquid, it behaves exactly how you do, and I wonder if I'll get that feeling a little bit more in this game.
I will say that the like art style of it is also pretty different because it's all pixel art now, so it's actually looks kind of like Dead Cells or Terraria, and they've done a really cool thing with all of the like supply, all of how like you used to like have the little supplies that would like the cubes that would run down the network essentially to go to the different like turrets and stuff to supply stuff. They're still doing that, but now it's all like individual little pixels, and they make their own little like I don't know, waypoints or whatever to go through the lines and stuff. So it's whenever you move things, it's also like a little bit of a puzzler. Like you can move your ships. So like you're flying, you have like a ship, like a flagship or whatever that you can move around because it can shoot stuff, it can build stuff, it can whatever. And you have to like control where that is and obviously not let it die. And they have these really cool animations whenever you move stuff. It's just such a neat, different take on it. I need to go back and give the demo a little bit more time because I kind of bounced off of it immediately, and I need to kind of go back and try again because I did not learn how to play this game. And these are the kinds of games you have to learn how to play them to be effective.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would be interested to see what you think about it, the demo. There's I think 3 levels in the demo. I only played like one of them. But there's a lot of content there, I guess is my point. So you could probably play it for an hour or so and play the demo.
Creeper World 4 was multiplayer, but it does not look like Creeper World IXE is multiplayer, which is a little bit of a disappointment, but that's okay.
I mean, I spent a long time since we tried Creeper World 4. I would be willing to try it again, multiplayer, if you want.
Yeah, I think it's worth a try. I don't know. These games, we tend to play them pretty heavily it's a lot like Factorio, actually. We tend to play them pretty heavily, and then we fall off, and then we come back, and then we fall off, and we come back. And I think this is a good candidate to come back to.
Cool. We'll have to put it on the list with all of the other things coming out in 2025.
It's been a little while, but back in December, a little game called Path of Exile 2 came out. And I had been very excited about playing it, and now is my chance to finally talk about it because I did buy it, I did play it, and I was super excited about it because they were implementing the ability to move with WASD instead of click to move, and And I am happy to report, and I know I want to talk about this so much with you, Chris, because you were almost kind of groaning, or it goes against a lot of like ARPG like movement style, and I think it's on the same realm as our first person versus third person debate and how much it matters. But I will say I am enjoying an ARPG now because I can move with WASD.
I just don't understand. Like, I don't get it. Like, to me, ARPGs are designed to have the like real-time strategy, right click to make a person move or whatever, or left click or whatever you do. Like the Diablo control scheme where you have the mouse and you kind of like, click around and stuff. That is how these games are supposed to be. Like, I don't understand how you like first person, third person. It's just a design choice or a style choice from the developers. This one feels like a genre trope that like you want that like click to make your person go do their thing, and I don't really understand why you're so excited about it being WASD.
So two reasons. One, my brain does not do. I don't know. It doesn't. The panic, like when you're in a bad situation, my panic response is not to move the mouse and click away. My panic response is to hit a certain button on the keyboard. And I think that comes a lot from MMO. Like a certain skill or a certain thing, but like my panic response goes to my left hand. I know that's really weird, but like that's what I think about. So when I'm playing an ARPG and I'm in a bad situation, the fact that I can hit a dodge roll with my spacebar, or I can hit a potion with my 1, or I can run away with WASD, it just works so much better for me. It just clicks so much more. I also really like, and the reason the Path of Exile 2 did this, I mean, one is it works a little better with controller and it's a little bit more 1-to-1, but the reason they said they did this is because they want you to be able to move in one direction and shoot in another. And it really came from the shield mechanic that they have now, where you can raise a shield and you can block from a direction. And they want you to be able to like backstep or sidestep or whatever while holding a shield in a certain direction. So they said, hey, we implemented that mechanic. It felt really good for that one class. And we said, well, why don't we implement this for all classes? And it works so well for me. I'm a caster and I need to cast at a bunch of enemies, but I also want to kind of kite them. And the fact that before you had to click to walk away, and then you had to click to attack to turn around, and then you had to click again to walk away, and then you had to click again. It just didn't work for me. And this control scheme is just so much more enjoyable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think there's ways to get around that. I mean, you could do the whole like push the button on the keyboard and it aims at where the mouse pointer is. Like that would work. And you could still do it with the click to move thing.
I had actually tried that. With PoE 1, where you could essentially double one of the keyboard keys as a mouse key. I think I used space. And it worked well enough, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for.
You mentioned controllers. I mean, is it controller supported?
Yeah, fully controller supported. Yes.
Oh.
Is Diablo 4 fully controller supported?
I think it is, because Diablo 3, people kind of gave it a hard time because it kind of dumbed down some of the skills so that they would fit on a console controller. I think Diablo 4 is also on console and fully controller supported.
When you play on a PC, though, you can't use WASD to move.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't played Diablo 4.
I'm pretty sure that's true, and that's disappointing to me, because I think that would be that drives me to want to play Diablo 4 on a controller, because I want to be able to move with one hand and attack with the other. But I don't know. I'm not going to play Diablo 4. I think Path of Exile 2 is the ARPG that I want to play. I really like what they've done with the way combat works, or the way that they've designed difficulty. I feel like ARPGs in the past, and this was the genre, like it was, you should kill things so fast that they don't have a chance to hurt you. right? That was generally the style of ARPGs. I think that's changed a little bit with Path of Exile 2. They've tried to make it more, you actually have to make sure that you don't get stuck on a corner, and you have to make sure your positioning is good. And the other major change with Path of Exile 2 versus 1 is that enemies now cannot be phased through. Like they actually have like mass and I don't know, they're collidable is really what it comes down to. So like if they trap you in a corner and they surround you, you have to fight your way out. Like you can't just dodge roll out of them. And that's frustrating a lot of players. It's a change. But I think they did that purposefully to make it such that you now have to worry about your positioning. You now have to know where you are in a room. You can't just kite away if you get trapped in a corner. And it's very much a change from Path of Exile 1. I like it. It is hard. It's difficult. I'm struggling with it, but I like the difficulty. It reminds me a lot of an ARPG that now has taken a lot of influence from like a Souls-like.
Okay, yeah. I mean, the whole kind of gaming landscape is shifting in the Souls-like direction of like tight timing and dodging and planning out your actions and trying a boss a bunch of times and all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense that they would bring that into a game like this that is very focused around the bosses. I mean, all of the stuff that I've seen is bragging about how many bosses they are. Like, why are they so proud of their boss count?
I mean, it's the same as like Elden Ring, right? Like every boss is unique, has unique attacks, has a unique move set, and you have to learn them. And I'm sure as you get more and more time with the game, you will have to fight them over and over again. So the number of bosses and the number of things to learn. We were talking about, was this last episode we were talking about Slay the Spire, and you learn all of the cards, you know what they all do.
Right.
Well, now the whole thing is doing the end game on repeat, the same, doing the maps the same, over and over again. And the fact that there are 50 bosses now is cool because you could run into a lot of different things, and every moveset is different, and every challenge will be slightly different. Imagine Hades, right? Like a difficult kind of thing where positioning and in your attack matters. But imagine there were 50 different bosses. That's why they're advertising it.
That's too many. I don't need that much Hades in my Hades.
That's not very ARPG of you. Everyone always wants more enemies and more bosses, I guess. I don't know. That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like ARPG players want. They just want more and more and more enemy types and more bosses and more difference. Because, I mean, it makes sense because the end game loop is kind of samey. I don't know. It feels like they have to throw different mechanics at the game because the loop itself is very the same over and over again, right? So in Path of Exile 1, they're throwing different league mechanics and different ways to earn gear and like different challenges that you have to do. Well, in Path of Exile 2, they've started very fresh off the press with 50 different bosses, which is another way to keep it, like, try to keep it fresh and to kind of try to keep it changing so that every time you go into a map or in a new zone, at the end game, you may experience something that, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this boss in forever. And oh my gosh, he's got one new attack that I don't know what he does. It just, keeps it a little different, keeps you on your toes.
This game sounds so cool. I really don't have time to kind of play it right now, but I maybe am looking forward to when it kind of fully comes out and goes free to play, because it's doing free to play after the early access, right?
Yeah, so it's $30 for early access, or a bunch of money for other stuff. But it is going free to play, just like Path of Exile 1. And I would say it is free to play, pay for convenience, a lot like Guild Wars 2. Stash tabs and things like that, I would say are reasonably priced. But certain things like a currency tab where you can throw currency in there and it kind of auto sorts and are not required, but very convenient. Everything else is cosmetic. So I really like their monetization style post launch.
Okay, well, at the very least, I will certainly give it a try once it kind of comes out and I can play it without having to buy it. But if you all keep playing it and liking it, maybe I'll have to consider picking it up. Speaking of games that are free, we played a free game lately, and it was an interesting and not so bad experience.
It was actually quite good.
The game that we played was Marvel Rivals, which is kind of an Overwatch clone-ish thing, but with all Marvel superheroes. So all of the like comic book heroes that you know and mostly you don't are characters that you can play in like a hero shooter, which is really cool. Like it's well executed, and it does a really good job of kind of executing on the Overwatch format.
Is it fair to say that it's an Overwatch form? Like, is team-based hero shooter not a genre? Like, didn't Team Fortress 2 start this? Like, why is it, or Team Fortress? Why does Overwatch get all the credit?
Well, Overwatch gets the credit with us because Overwatch is the game that at least I played a whole bunch of. I mean, I played a lot of Team Fortress 2 before that, but I'd forgotten about TF2, to be honest, because it's been a while, like 20 years. But
yeah, long time.
Overwatch is kind of the most recent high-profile version of this. But yes, you're correct that the hero shooter as a genre is a thing outside of the existence of Overwatch.
It does look a lot like Overwatch. The art style is Overwatch.
The art style, the like levels are kind of Overwatch-ish. The I don't know. Everything about it, like the hero picks, like the ultimates, like it just feels more Overwatchy than Team Fortressy, I would say. The objectives, like the capture the flag versus the like push maps and all that kind of stuff. It just all feels very similar to Overwatch.
You can answer for this for me because you've played a lot of Team Fortress 2. Did team comp matter as much as it does in these modern team hero fighter shooter games as it did in TF2? Like, did TF2 matter that much on like, hey, we don't have a heavy on our team?
It did matter. I mean, you needed something like that, but it wasn't as well, I'm trying to remember if it was. I don't remember if they had it like broken out in the character select screen into.
It wasn't as Trinity like it is now.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, you need 2-2-2 or whatever, like you do in Overwatch, where they actually enforce it in the format. But like you could kind of do whatever you wanted to. But I think you could only have one of each hero on the team still, which makes sense, or one of each character on the team.
Yeah.
But I don't think they ever enforced it. And like it was kind of like, yeah, you need to have a heavy or something like a heavy, and you kind of want a medic. But like I would play a lot of pyro. I played a lot of medic, played a lot of pyro. Things where you didn't have to aim too much.
I really liked that Marvel Rivals didn't enforce the comp. It encouraged it, and maybe it will start to force it at some point. But I really liked that it didn't force it. It encouraged it.
Yeah, it was definitely like an early Overwatch vibe where things were a little bit more free-for-all and a little more free-form so that people could be a little more creative in the gameplay aspect of things. Overwatch, I think, started to enforce these things because people kind of got really good at finding game-breaking combos, essentially, and pulling them in and just using those. When you could be like, oh, yeah, a team of all tanks, is unstoppable because they just have so much health, and it made it harder to balance the game.
Yeah, but doesn't that, like, shouldn't you fix that?
I mean, maybe, or you can just fix the game.
Instead of just enforcing. That's what I'm saying. Like, shouldn't you just fix the game? You mean like, yeah, okay.
I mean, yeah, you can change the rules of the format.
Yeah, but like the fact that you can do that, like I feel like that means that something is fundamentally broken. Like the whole point of different roles is that they complete a complete arc, like they complete a full circle of roles. And the fact that something that you could do would break it meant that if you broke the Trinity, you didn't have a complete team. That should ruin your team.
True.
You should be encouraged to conform to the thing because that's the best way to win.
I think that's a noble cause and a noble goal, but I think in practice it starts to emerge that whenever you have 25 characters that you can pick from, there are going to be some things that kind of emerge in the like meta of the game that you can't plan for when you're designing the game.
MOBAs have it figured out.
Who?
MOBAs like Dota and League of Legends, like you are encouraged of certain team comps, but you're not required.
Well, that's true. Yes, the MOBAs you can do whatever you want, but you can't change at will in MOBAs. You can't change heroes on the fly, and that's true. In Marvel Rivals and in Overwatch.
That is true. I say all this because we did have a really, really frustrating 3-round game, or first round of a 3-round game, and they were all what is it called, duelists, where they were just pumping out DPS, all kinds of damage, and we couldn't do anything about it. And we sat down and we said, okay, what are we going to do different for round 2? And someone made the call that said, hey, we're all going to go tank. We're all going to go, or at least more of us are going to go tank. And I think you stayed healer, which is play the game. But we switched to tank, and we won the next 2 rounds because we had that flexibility. We were able to not just do 2-2-2. We were, I think 3 or 4 of us were tanks, and one of us was a healer. That kind of creativity and comp change, I don't know, just in order to counter something, like we went the counter to what they were doing, and they didn't adapt fast enough or correctly, but we adapted, and so we won. And that's what I like about the not locking you in.
I feel like there's a lot of advantage to this game being new also. Like, this game just came out like a month or 2 ago, right? And there's a lot of advantage to there not being a super robust meta, or at least at the levels we're playing. We're not exposed to the streamers and the people that play this thing 8 hours a day. Like, we are just kind of in the regular people league. And so those kind of strategies work. And it feels really good when they do work. But I don't know if that would be sustainable across like months of this kind of game. One thing that they did a super good job with is super good-ish job with is the highlight system. So like Overwatch had the play of the game where they'd make everybody watch the like play of the game for the one person that was play of the game. But this one, Marvel Rivals, they let you pick any person on your team at the end of the game, and you can see their highlight from that game. And everybody has one. Some are more play of the game like than others, but everybody gets a highlight, and you can click on any character and see their highlight.
Yeah, I really like that, because as part of that is like you can see how a character plays. Like you say, hey, you played Iron Man that round. Like, what does he do, or how does he work? Especially when you're learning the game. But it was really nice because you could say like, oh, I don't care about this random person on our teams play the game. Like, I want to see what Chris did that game. And that's really cool that you can make that choice.
Yeah, one thing that they could do to make that a little bit more interactive or more collective or whatever would be to let you kind of like join in on somebody else watching a highlight. So like similar to the Overwatch experience, you could just basically be like, our group that we queued with would like to watch, whatever the leader clicks on, essentially to like cinema mode it for all of the friends so that you could watch it at the same time and be like, oh man, that was so cool, we did it. And like right now it kind of just works out that like people sort of like start them about the same time, and then they start commenting on stuff that people did, and it's a little disjointed. It's kind of weird because everybody could be watching a different highlight at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. We would finish the game, we would look at our scoreboard, and then everyone would just go quiet for like 2 minutes.
Right, and then you'd hear, oh man, that thing when you did with your ult, that was really cool, and like it would have to be directed at a single person, and nobody, like not everyone would have seen it, so then you have to kind of deck out of the one that you're watching and go back to the one that they just talked about, and it was a little bit, that was a little bit weird, but overall it was still a really cool way to do that, where you give everybody a chance to kind of be in the spotlight, even if they weren't the MVP.
Did you know about this game before it came out?
I was like generally aware that there was going to be a game called Marvel Rivals, but I didn't know what the like format was going to be. Like, I didn't know what it was.
I feel like this game came out of nowhere. I mean, and I say that because it's a pretty good game. I just feel like it came out of nowhere. Like I feel like there was more advertising for Marvel Snap than there was for Marvel Rivals.
Oh, well, yeah. but they probably also made more money on Marvel Snap than they did on this one.
That's probably true. It's a phone game, but I don't know. I just feel like it came out of nowhere, and it deserves a little bit more like advertising, marketing.
Yeah, I think it could. Yeah,
because it's quite good. It's a really good adaptation of that format, right? Hero shooter, Overwatch, like, if you want to call it that. But it's also a really good steward of the Marvel like brand. Like, it's a really good I don't know if you want to call it an adaptation, but implementation of the characters.
Oh yeah, I really liked this iteration of the Marvel characters that weren't MCU characters. Like, they are not the same people from the MCU, and usually that bothers me in the games. Like, they did that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and they did Guardians of the Galaxy. They've done a few Marvel games that don't use the movie actors as the voice actors and don't use the movie likenesses as the people, and that's always a little bit I don't know, a little disjointed for me, because I think I'm not as familiar with reading the comics, so I'm very like in tune with what the actors look like. This one, they don't look like the actors, but I was able to get over that, and it was still a really good implementation of all of those characters.
Yeah, it was really nice. I agree with you. I have similarly, I think there was one where Iron Man was in it, or he's a main character in it, and I'm just like, that's not Robert Downey Jr., and that is not anything like I imagine Iron Man to be, and I can't get past it. Whereas in this one, I was fine with it. Like, it didn't put me off from the game at all. I have a feeling this one is here to stay. I hope that the monetization model of it stays reasonable. I think there's a battle pass and there's some cosmetics, which I'm okay with. I'm cool with a battle pass. Like, as long as it stays most like all cosmetic, you can put. Yeah, I think there's some MCU skins in there that you can actually put on and look like this MCU Star-Lord or things like that. And as long as it stays that way and there's no kind of in your face monetization, I think this might be here to stay for us, for our group, as a long-term come back to over time game.
I mean, I think if it stays in its current state or something similar to it, I think for sure. Because the other thing we didn't mention is that it takes 1.2 seconds to find a match. Like, it is so fast. You click the button and you're in a match. It's so fast.
Incredibly fast.
Like, you spend more time loading the menu than you do looking for a game.
Yes, you do. I wonder if they are filling with bots and we don't even notice.
I don't even care.
I don't care either, because the games are pretty good, pretty close. You like in other, like Rocket League or in Overwatch, or like the leader has to be like, okay, I'm going to start searching for a match, and everyone goes off and does their own thing. In this game, you can go into a practice range and like by yourself while you're waiting for a match. And I did that once or twice. But like in this game, the leader has to say, is everyone ready? Because as soon as I hit this button, we are in a match.
Yeah, it's very fast, which is really cool because it makes it easy to kind of jump in to a game with people, because you know that you're going to get a game really quick.
Oh, can I give it another huge compliment? The disconnected, reconnected feature, that you can jump back into a game that you got disconnected from. It should be table stakes. It is so nice that people can get back in when they crash, and it should be table stakes.
Yeah, it keeps a spot for you. Like, it holds your spot, which I guess would be bad, because then people could like report you if you never came back, but people tend to come back, and it
I'm sure there's a timeout.
Probably, but we never had it happen where it filled with somebody, and we did have a couple of crashes, like a couple of our friends crashed once or twice, but once we kind of dialed in some settings and stuff, it worked out just fine. Okay,
well, that's a taste of what we've been playing. Who knew we play games as well as talk about them? So we wanted to give a little update. We're on a kind of a Christmas, New Year's break right now. Just trying to get a little bit of time. So we're recording a little bit ahead, and we wanted to put something out on our normal schedule. So happy New Year, happy 2025. We have some major episodes coming up, and I say that because I am personally so proud of the tradition that Chris and I have built to do the video game spending recap that we do every year, and the what are we looking forward to next year tradition of the 2 episodes that we publish every year. I think this will be, and Chris, maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm actually losing count. Will this be the 5th spending game recap?
The 5th annual P&A spending episode. Yes.
Oh, it's just so cool to me that we've been doing it for so long. Every year at the top of the year, we make sure that we do not plan it early, because I think a few years ago, or even last year, we spend down to the wire. It's like down, and I haven't, it could be down to December 31st, and we make sure we capture every penny. So those episodes are coming up. They will be the next 2 episodes that come out in 2025 in January will be our spending game recap for 2024, and what we are looking forward to the rest of 2025 with, there's always a fun little recap of what we said in 2024. And sometimes we have to eat our words a little bit. So I love that part of that episode as well. If you're playing anything, if you have, I would love for someone to reach out about Palworld if they know any more than we do, or if you would like to play Marvel Rivals, please reach out, get in contact with us, which you can do by joining our Discord at discord.pnapodcast.com.
If you want to find any of our older episodes, if you want to catch up on the previous spending episodes before next time, those episode numbers are 92, 66, 41, and last year was 118. You can visit our website at pnapodcast.com. That's P, the letter N, the letter A, podcast.com.
If you're enjoying the show, or if you want to share our upcoming episodes with someone else, we would love if you could do that.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next time. Jason, I've had a cavalcade of boxes arriving at my house for my little home server project.
Oh, yeah.
And
just like
I think
piles and piles.
Yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous, actually. All like relatively not expensive things, but just lots of different things. This has also this Give a Mouse a Cookie has led into doing a bunch of stuff with my home network as well. So now I've got some Ubiquiti switches and stuff that are coming, and I've got the server and I've got the hard drives and all that stuff. I'm still in the setting up the server kind of phase of this project, but it is leading into more and more kind of stuff proliferating.
Is anything actually running yet?
I did have the server running and with a shared folder on it so that I could test out something that I did, which is a random thing, where I have my scanner now that has a button on it that scans directly to a shared folder, which is kind of cool. It'll scan a PDF straight into, or maybe it's an image file, I don't remember, straight into this share folder. And then I haven't set it up yet. This is the problem, but there is a open source Docker container thing that you can get that will index scans and make it searchable and keep its own little database, but also keep all the originals, and it runs locally, so it's not some cloud thing. So I can use it to scan in all of the papers that we get and have it categorize them all. So I'm working on kind of getting myself worked up to doing that, but I got to install Docker and got to do all this other stuff. So it's fun though. It's a bit of a project.
Did you end up with a server, a rack that's going to go in your laundry room?
Yes, I have a rack that I need to mount to the wall. It's an 8-unit little rack that should be wall mounted. Right now, I'm going to start off with a bunch of shelves in it. I do need to get. Okay. Every time I talk about this, it reminds me of something else I need to buy. I need to get
I did tell you this is a recipe for spending money.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I do think it's in a reasonable place. Good thing we're not doing a home server spending episode. But I do need to get something that is a power strip for the rack, a power distribution thingy for the rack, so that I can plug it in and have it power all the rest of the stuff. But I think I'm going to start off with 3-ish shelves, to put the stuff on, and then kind of go from there with room to grow into formal rack mountable hardware once this all kind of proves itself.
Is it a full depth rack, or is it a half depth?
It's just a network rack, so it's only, 12 inches deep or something. It's pretty narrow, because it needs to fit in my laundry room, right? I'm not going to cut holes in the wall to put this thing in there. Not that I didn't consider it.
I was going to say,
Yeah, that one got vetoed by the household architect.
I see. Yes.
But anyway, I'm excited. It's all coming together. I have set up all of the switches and stuff in my current situation because I haven't put the rack up yet. So until I install that in the laundry room, I've put like other switches now in the entertainment center where I had my previous, cable modem and switches and stuff. Just basically to get all of the topology set up, and then I can unplug all the stuff, move it all, and plug it all back in and minimize the downtime to the home network.
I can't wait for the next update.
I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely considering VLANs.
Yep. There it is. Yep. Are you worried that all of this complexity is going to lead to headache?
Only a little bit, like not a lot, but maybe kind of a little bit. Like we have a VPN hardware device for work, right? That's a thing. And I could put it on its own VLAN. Like it doesn't need to be able to see my printer at home. Like I would actually rather it be pretty segmented from the rest of my network. So that's where I want to start. Like I'm not going to go crazy. Like I don't think I'm going to put all of the IoT devices like in their own VLAN yet, but that's also not off the table.
I know a lot of people do that because you just have no idea what those things are running.
Exactly. No, I know. I think I need to. I want the opportunity to be able to segment them if I so choose. So I got to figure out because the switches I got are layer 2 switches, and then the router is a layer 3 thing, and I think I can just do it all from the router, but I got to research a lot more to figure that out, and I don't think I quite have time to do that right now. So for now, it's all coming together. I've got power over Ethernet now. It's really cool. I've got these little power over Ethernet 5-port
so
switches.
Nice.
They're so cool.
Do you have any cameras in the house?
Not yet.
Like exterior or like garage or whatever?
That is another reason that I wanted to get a PoE switch, was so that I could do PoE cameras, because a single cable for data and power
it so much easier. Yes.
Yeah. There's also things you can get that will go from like PoE to USB voltage, so you can use like PoE for your little smart home hubs and stuff, which all use USB connectors. But those are a little bit pricey, so I haven't done that yet. Yeah, I have this problem where I have like 4 different home bridges basically for various vendors worth of smart home stuff, and they all need little like 5-volt power supplies, and it would be really nice to consolidate. But I could probably also just do that with like a USB multi-brick.
Are all of those going to go in the rack?
That's the plan.
Okay. I don't have a single smart home hub in my house yet.
Really?
Not a single one. I have one that's not set up. I have a Lutron Caseta hub that is still in the box.
That was going to be the one I was going to recommend because it is rock solid. The hubs are like certainly a little bit of a pain just to have them, but like once you get them set up, they are so much more reliable than Wi-Fi for smart home stuff.
Okay. And does that Lutron Caseta hub work for other non-Lutron Caseta smart home devices?
Not that I have seen. I don't know that it can. I think everything is supposed to kind of be going that way with like Thread and Matter and all that stuff.
I was going to say, it's not like a Matter hub, is it?
No, they use their own frequency or their own whatever. So I don't think that you can kind of mix and match.
I haven't made that jump yet. I haven't made that jump to smart home, but the 2 things I want are some smart switches throughout the house. And I don't know if you have this, but I really want a smart garage door.
Oh,
I can tell whether it's open or closed, and I can open or close it remotely. And the really fancy ones now will see if you're driving home or driving away, and it will just open and close it automatically for you.
I would never want that, but I appreciate that you think you want that.
Why? What do you mean? Why?
Because like you want something to like open the like door to your house like automatically based on where it thinks your phone is.
Yeah, if you're coming down the street and the door's open, so you don't have to wait for it.
No, see, I would be worried that like my phone would like decide that its GPS was off by 5 miles or whatever, and then it would say, "Oh, I'm away," and then it would all of a sudden decide that it had honed in on being home again, even though it had never moved, and then it'd be like, "Oh, you've arrived at home. Now I got to open the door," and it would open the door while you were home but sleeping or something, and then that would be a problem.
Okay, well. Maybe a little bit of my privilege is showing, but I have left the garage door open all night on accident, and it's been fine.
Okay, well, we just live in different, risk tolerances.
Yeah. Don't you lock your exterior door too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Well, if you do this, I will be very interested to hear how it works, and I would love to see how you did it, but I don't think I'm going to do it.
They have devices for this. They have like straight up, like you can like pre-built smart garage door devices. And that's what I plan on using.
Yeah, there's one that I want to get. It's called Rat GDO, Rage Against the Garage Door Opener. And it's like an open source, like a thing you can buy like fully assembled. So it doesn't, and you just do a little bit of wiring into your existing garage door opener, and you don't have to pay the like cloud subscription for the garage door opener. And like it runs on your local home network, so you can have it talk to your own little Home Assistant server on a Raspberry Pi or whatever. You can get a little attachment for it where it can use a parking assistance laser, which looks so cool. Anyway, yes, there are options out there, and I definitely have considered it, but I wouldn't want to use it to geofence my door opening.
Okay, all right, fine. But I do want to know whether it's open or closed.
That I want. That I absolutely want. I have found myself in the last month being like, I know I'm pretty sure I did that. Did I close it? I don't know. And like we have problem in the morning sometimes when the sun is shining a certain way, it shines into the little sensor and it doesn't actually close. Like, yeah, I definitely do want the feedback.
I cannot tell you how many times I've driven down the street and go, I'm pretty sure I clicked that button, but I'm going to turn around and double check.
Exactly. You have to circle the block and come back and look at it. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, keep us updated on your home server, smart home, everything, rack mounted solution. I am very interested. I would actually love an episode on this when you're all said and done, on everything you bought, how everything is set up, and maybe the final price tag.
All right. We'll have to we'll think about doing that.